What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. Chuck Silver and Smitty here with Occupy Fantasy to bring you the strategy for DraftKings and FanDuel. We got a nice another little two-gamer with the NBA Cup. Yesterday, we got Cole Anthony. I don't think there's a player that can Cole Anthony us today, but pretty interesting slate. We'll get into it. Smitty, how we doing?
Doing pretty good. Another two gamer. Excited to break this one down.
Yeah, and I see a Unicorn Love early in the chat as always. It is money time, getting closer to winning one. Yeah, appreciate it. We've had a pretty sick week here, for our members and staff. We've had a lot of screenshots lately. So if you're not in Discord, get into Discord. Share with us if, we're helping guide you to wins. Heath, what's up? Courtney, what's up? Courtney, one of our members, got a good week too. Good stuff, man. So, Smitty, first game, New York, Atlanta. Where do we want to start?
We could start on the Atlanta side. We do have Bogdan questionable. Jalen Johnson's questionable, which is a big piece. And then the other pieces don't really matter. But I kind of just assume they play. The line kind of seems like they'll play everyone in this game. So I'm just building as if that's the case. But we'll know before lock. Bogdan is my highest exposed player from here. I just kind of think he's too cheap for his role. 4,900 shooting guard, small forward. Can't really miss on that. I think him and Hunter are both going to play pretty solid minutes off the bench. So I like both of them. And then I like Jalen Johnson, assuming he plays at 8,300 power forward. I think he looks solid.
Yeah, I built as if everyone's in, and I'm getting a bunch of Bogdan over on DraftKings. And yeah, he's also my highest exposed hawk over on FanDuel as well. Just getting a little bit of everyone else, though. Looking at the top end, so Trae Young and Jalen Johnson both have double-digit OFs. You mentioned the interest in Jalen Johnson. Maybe there's some fear with the injury, whatever, but I think the price is good, and this ownership seems a little light compared to some of the other options. So I do like getting to him. And then with Trae Young, we were kind of talking about before the stream how much Brunson we were getting. So it kind of feels like everyone else is just a pivot. What do you think about Trae Young in this matchup?
Yeah, I think Trey looks like a pretty solid pivot to Brunson. I know if we're getting that much Trey, the industry's are not Trey Brunson. The industry probably is too. So it seems pretty logical to go to Trey Young on the other side, and especially when you're fading Brunson.
And now you mentioned Dyson Daniels, and so I just want to say something about like this mid range today. We were talking about it too. Like a lot of my lineups are kind of paying down or paying up, and we don't have that much to pay up for. But this like 7K range is really tough to get to. So Dyson Daniels at the 10%, I think he's worth getting some percentage of, but I don't even have 10% on DraftKings. Do you?
No, I don't. I will say he's probably a better play on FanDuel, but ownership also reflects that. Just stock upside in this matchup looks pretty solid. His minutes should be really good.
And then we had a discussion in the Discord earlier about what to do with Capella and Okongwu. So in the last game that Jalen Johnson was out, Larry Nance got the start. We currently have Larry Nance projected for, I have to think, 0 minutes. But assuming Jalen Johnson's in, what do you want to do with these two? Because Okongwu started the second half for Capella last game, and Capella only saw 19 minutes. They never shared the court.
Yeah, I kind of think they just play it based off matchups. To me, I kind of like a Congo more. That's who I'm getting to more right now, and I think his athleticism with Towns kind of makes more sense to me. I could see him having the 28 minutes here, 27 minutes, somewhere in that range, getting the leg up, and I'm just going to roll with that, especially when the ownership's not really there on either site. I think he looks good, and it's also his birthday.
Uh, Always love the birthday narrative. Remember, we looked up Giannis's birthday last time, and it was like only 4 games, but he was terrible, and he was a bad play that day.
Yep.
But so for me, I have more Okongwu on DraftKings. He's 4,700 versus Capella 5,700, but I have more Capella on FanDuel 5,400 versus Okongwu's 5,600, and I'm okay with that. I don't really have a strong lean on either one, so I guess I'm just playing the price game there.
Yep.
I will mention Capella's a better value on both sites, even though he's $1,000 more on DraftKings. The minutes projections we have Capella at 23.4 and Okongwu for 24.3. So we even have Okongwu for more minutes, and the model is still telling us Capella's a stronger play on both sides. So maybe we should take a closer look at that, make a little adjustment there.
Yep.
And last player here, Zachary Ricochet. Do you have any interest in him today? Because I'm just having a really tough time getting to him over a lot of the other options that we have on the other teams.
Yeah, I think he's okay as a lower owned GPP play. If one of these guys is ruled out, like Bogdan or Jalen Johnson's ruled out, then I think he looks better. But the minutes are just not really there, and then kind of just lack of offensive upside for him.
Yeah, this 29 minutes was when Jalen Johnson missed. And I mean, he's taken as many shots as Jeremy Grant every game, 10, 11, which is awesome. But yeah, again, it's just a low on tournament flyer, I think. I'm not even getting any over on DraftKings right now. And on FanDuel, I have 2%. Anything else on Atlanta? I mean, should we talk about some if thens? Maybe if Jalen Johnson misses with Larry Nance starting, he's going to look pretty good.
Uh, are you back?
Oh, did I cut out for a second?
Yeah.
I have no idea how long I was out for. What anyone heard? Just in case Jalen Johnson's out and Larry Nance starts, I'm going to be pretty interested in him. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Larry Nance. I don't know his FanDuel price, but 3,800 on DraftKings with power forward eligibility. He would look really good. Probably be one of the best value plays on the slate. So if Jalen Johnson's out, I'll be more interested in going to Nance, and then also it brings in kind of these secondary plays as well.
Yeah, and I'll just mention Nance played 24 and a half minutes, and he kind of lost the last 4 minutes because of blowout. So it's possible he could have got up to like 28. But we'll have to see what the model updates to. Maybe we'll have that news before the stream ends. If not, Jayhawk's in the Discord today, so he can catch you guys up on that. See what's up, Eli. Good to see you, Jay Reed. You click when you see Occupy Fantasy. It's probably a good idea recently. Who would we rather get to in the first game, Young or Brunson? And what team do we like to stack on DK? Yeah, we can use this as a transition to New York. We kind of alluded that we both like Jalen Brunson. Did I cut out again? I don't know if I'm out or Smitty's out, but I'm just going to keep talking. So we got New York, Jalen Brunson, Carl Anthony Towns, top two on the model, both pulling heavy ownership. Smitty, I think you're getting a ton of Jalen Brunson, and I'm getting a ton of both of these guys. What do we want to do with the exposures compared to the other studs?
Yeah, for Jalen Brunson, I think he's a pretty good play. I'm getting to a lot of them, but I just brought him down a little bit. I'm trying to kind of match the field on him. He's not really my favorite play on the slate. I get his price is probably a little too cheap. The minutes are going to be there, but I kind of just like getting to some of these other plays like a Trey or some more Fred Van Vliet or just some other high upside options, mixing it around. I don't want to be too concentrated on Brunson. However, Towns is someone that I'm fine given whatever it gives me. I'm fine with playing that. I think Towns looks like the best center option on the slate. Not priced high enough, and he's going to be a staple in pretty much most of my lineups.
Yeah, Carl Towns has to be the highest projected player on the industry today. I mean, he's certainly our highest projected player by quite a bit. And so I expect the ownership to be there. I'm getting a ton over on DraftKings. I'm at about 64% right now. That will change, but I should be in that range. Over on FanDuel, I'm at 50, which is with the field. And I'm actually surprised I came in that low. But I guess something with the pricing, or maybe there's other centers we're interested in. But looking at the secondary players, I have a lot of interest in OG Anunoby at 6,200 on DraftKings, even the 7K on FanDuel. Him, Mikal Bridges, regardless of Josh Hart is in or out, I think both of these guys are pretty strong plays, and their ownerships are probably appropriate.
Yeah, I'm getting to quite a bit of them. OG is probably my second favorite option from the team behind Towns, and then Miles McBride. His ownership's pretty high, but I don't hate getting there. I'm currently under the field on DraftKings right now, but I think he looks okay.
Nice. And then I have interest in Precious Achua. If Josh Hart ends up missing, I see Precious's minutes going up. I'm curious what the ownership will adjust to, but even as it is right now, we only have him projected for 15 minutes. When Carl Anthony Towns missed 2 games ago, he got 28, and so I got to think the injury is good. If he can play, he can play. He saw 16 in the last game when everyone's there, so that is what we're going to project him for. But at no ownership, 3,600. I mean, get another blocker steal in there. That I mean, this 18 and a half could even be enough at a salary if it lets you fit the other guys. So I like Precious as it is, but if Josh Hart misses, I like him even more. Any opinion there?
Yeah, I'm over the field on Precious. I think he's a good GPP play. Also has power forward eligibility on both sides, which is pretty big. Tibbs is just going to play his guys. So if anything happens, someone gets in foul trouble, someone gets hurt per se, or anything like that, he's going to play Precious. So we could see a 7-man rotation here. So I think the minutes are the upside is there for sure.
Yeah, that's with if Josh Hart's out, and then campaign was he ruled in or was he still questionable?
I think he's still questionable.
Did you have any interest at the 3,300? We only have him projected for 13 minutes, but he's pulling 17% ownership.
No, I'm not. I don't really have a ton of interest there. Last game he was almost cut out of the rotation, but I mean he's fine.
So typically, I love getting to these cheap guys, especially guys like Campaign, who I think can kind of hit that little ceiling we're looking for in just a few minutes. But on DraftKings today, I'm actually getting 0%, and so I don't think I'm going to get any over on FanDuel either at that higher price.
Yeah.
I am getting a little bit of Miles McBride though. The model's identifying him as the top. Oh, is he not the top? I misread that. Model is not identifying him as a top value play on the Knicks. We have him projected for 26 minutes. He's pulling pretty heavy ownership at 41 and 4,200. I'm not quite at the 40%, but he is a kind of a staple of my exposures today.
Yeah. I'm pretty underweight there, but I could see it. He's cheap and he's gonna play minutes.
Yeah, I have about 25% on DraftKings and 30 on FanDuel. So not quite with the field. We'll see how that adjusts though, because the Golden State situation is kind of going to change things. And so that's another note I just want to mention. Like, we're not waiting for much news from the Golden State game. I guess Andrew Wiggins, and we need that starting lineup. But like, that starting lineup could change a lot of things. And so maybe people won't late swap for that like they would for injuries. And so that's a pretty good edge tonight, I think, is like we have a lot of good plays in the first games, but there could be some really good plays opening up in the second games if we get some news.
Yeah, definitely.
Pajemski will be the Cole Anthony of last night. It's not a bad transition to Golden State, but I can't imagine he's pulling. So he's only 6.5% owned. I mean, this would be like the Anthony Black of last night if he ends up having a good game, right? But assuming Wiggins is in, did you have any interest going to Pajemski at all here?
Um, no, not really. I think he's okay, but I'm not really getting there.
Yeah, I didn't get any exposure to him on either site. I'm just answering this one real quick for Rocket Sauce. UD Drafter here. Do we prefer Trey or Brunson? So looking at the ADPs, Trey is right ahead of Brunson. I'll just mention Brunson on the model. When I'm setting my rankings, I would have Brunson ahead of Trey. So my pick is Trey. Or my pick is Brunson. I'm sorry, Brunson.
Yeah, I had Brunson ahead too.
And so at the top end of Golden State, I mentioned Steph Curry is kind of a nice pivot to Jalen Brunson. On DraftKings, the 9,500 sounds kind of ridiculous, but he's only pulling 12%, and, you know, stuff can happen. 8,600 on FanDuel sounds pretty good, though, at 32%. How much Steph do you like tonight?
Yeah, I think Steph looks like a pretty solid pivot. The price is kind of high on DraftKings, but the ownership's not really there. So I like going to some Steph tonight.
Power in the chat. Steph had 29, 6, and 6, 9 free throws last time he played Houston. Dylan Brooks has his work cut out. Oh, man. Dylan Brooks is better hit some threes tonight, man. Play some D on Steph. If Wiggins is in, so what do you think the starting lineup is if Wiggins plays?
I'm kind of assuming Steph, Wiggins. I think Steph, Wiggins, Dre, and Kaminga, and then the next guy is kind of a toss-up. I'm kind of just thinking Buddy Hield right now.
Yeah, they started Gary Payton in place of Andrew Wiggins last time. Buddy Hield started alongside Gary Payton, if I'm not mistaken. They both did. So one of those two guys should start tonight. Gary Payton's pulling 15 and 13% ownership. We only have him projected for 16 minutes. I believe he played 27 or 28 in the last game at 3,300 and 3,900. I mean, if he's starting, I'm going to have a ton of interest. I'm probably going to try to swap to a lot of him. But if he's off the bench, what's your interest in Gary Payton?
Right now, I'm getting to 0, but he's a guy you could kind of mix in. I don't love it. The upside's just not really there. But like you said, if he starts, then maybe he has more minutes upside. It's just don't really seem like the matchup where they need him.
I agree. Yeah, and he played a lot of minutes. I assume he was matched up with Anthony Edwards in the last game. I don't think it really worked because Ant had a good game, but getting 6% of Gary Payton on FanDuel and 14% on DraftKings, so it's probably about where I'd like to be, unless we get news that he's starting. I think Jonathan Kuminga starts, but I don't I think it's 100%. I know he's been starting and he's been playing fantastic, so I really don't see why Steve Kerr would change that up. But he has been known to do weird things. Kaminga pulling massive ownership. He's currently my highest exposed player on both sites. Where are you at?
Yeah, he's my highest exposed too. Fills the power forward position. He's just too cheap. We have him for 30 minutes. If he plays 30 minutes, he looks really good at 5,400 on DraftKings.
Yeah, and the model has Buddy Hield as actually the best value play from this game, but Jonathan Kaminga, I mean, it's not too far behind. Still a very strong play, and then Buddy Hield, if he's starting, these ownerships will probably be a little bit light, but 45 and 4,400. I have him in my exposures right now, and so are you planning for Buddy Hield to start? Like, do you have more Buddy?
Yeah, I have 43% right now.
Okay. So even more than I do. So maybe I need to adjust that there. But I mean, either way, there's options we can swap to because I'm pretty sure we're going to have a ton of exposure to Houston as well. So we should be able to, swap pretty comfortably.
Yeah, that's kind of what my plan is. I just kind of want to get some buddy exposure. That way I have room to swap.
Nice. What up, Spaniard? What's up, gangster? How we doing? Dyson Daniels defense elite. You're nervous about playing Branson because of that? Yeah, I think Smitty mentioned that. But the thing is, he's not going to guard Brunson on 100% of plays. Pick and roll switches happen, and they're not going to always going to be on the court together. So, do you have any comments on that?
He did match his minutes last time they played, but
Oh,
like you said, there is pick and rolls. But last time he played 37 minutes, he matched Brunson's.
interesting. Okay, nice, nice. Gary Payton. Yeah, we just talked about him a little bit. Good if he starts. I'm still going to get some if he doesn't start. Jonathan Kaminga, best value on the slate. Yeah, I mean, to me, like I said, he's my highest exposed, so he's probably, in my mind, the best play on the slate, assuming he starts.
Yeah.
Trey always seems to go crazy versus the Knicks. I kind of had that thought too, and I looked it up, and he doesn't. He's had good games, but he doesn't go ballistic. I think he had one really good game at Madison Square Garden, but that's about it. You have anything on that?
No, I don't.
They played each other one time earlier this year. Cat went off. Trey Young did not. Healed 4,400 on FanDuel. Yeah, I think we both like him there too. Thoughts on Bogdan as a pivot for McBride? I think Bogdan's probably the stronger play to begin with, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I have way more. I have 4 times the Bogdan than I do McBride.
Yeah, let's compare looking at DK value. McBride 12.8, Bogdan 12.3. So McBride's a little cheaper, but McBride does get the slight edge on DraftKings actually and over on FanDuel. Yeah, I guess McBride also has the edge over Bogdan. But we talked about this last time that Bogdan is probably still a stronger play overall. I mean, he does have the higher OF index compared to McBride, so that's something. Is Brooks good value 4,400? Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Houston. So you mentioned Dylan Brooks, or a chatter mentioned Dylan Brooks, but Houston, I'm getting a ton of exposure to this team. What's the starting point for you here?
Yeah, I have a lot of Houston as well, which I'm good with. I think they're going to run a really tight rotation. Dylan Brooks is actually my highest exposed Rocket, which never feels great, but he's going to be on the court. He's 4,400 small forward eligibility on DraftKings and shooting guard small forward on FanDuel, so he looks even better there. I think he's probably one of the best plays. And then assuming Fred VanVleet, or never mind, he's not even on the injury report anymore. But with when oh goodness, with VanVleet back, I think he's a really good play. DraftKings 7,300 and FanDuel 7,200. He's just too cheap. Jalen Green, it's kind of someone I wouldn't mind being around the field on. Don't really love it. But I do like getting to some of these other guys like Eason, Jabari, and Amon Thompson. I think are all pretty good GPP plays.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in pretty much every single player on this team on the screen except for Steven Adams. Sorry, Steven. But everyone here is pulling double digit ownership. It's a great matchup against Golden State. 223 total. It's a bit lower than the other game, projected for a tight spread. Sengun is a pretty sick pivot to Cat, no?
Yeah, yeah, I like Sengun right now. Let's see, I'm about half the field on him, but I think he's good. I still got to make some adjustments.
I mean, just sorting by OF index, Cat is definitely the king today, but Sengun is not that far behind. Value is not that far behind on both sites. Price, we're saving a few hundred, but we're getting almost a 50% discount in ownership. So I think that's pretty significant. Cat 2-1 versus Sengun might be a little bit extreme. And so I kind of just like mixing in a little bit more Sengun. You could even play him in lineups with Cat over on DraftKings. It doesn't have to be one or the other if you can find the salary, maybe if you're getting away from one of the top point guards or something.
Yeah, and Sengun is questionable too, so make sure to monitor that.
Yeah, and maybe that's going to help drive down his ownership too. So we'll see what happens there. And let's say Sengun misses. I mean, the player that I actually have the most exposure to on Houston is Jabari Smith. I think his price is just broken on both sites, and I see this ownership. I'd be really surprised if he actually came in this low. But to me, he's a very, very obvious value play here.
Yeah, if he was to miss, I would have even more. But I do have a lot of Jabari, and then if he were to miss, I would also like Eason even more. But I already have a ton of both.
Yeah, it's a thing with all these Houston starters. It was affecting Fred Van Vliet too, where they're involved in blowouts one way or the other. Starters lose minutes, but we have Jabari Smith projected for 32 minutes today. 34, 37, 36, 40. Like he's played over 32 minutes in all of these close games the past few. So I just don't see how we don't get over the field on him today.
Yeah, I agree.
What about the bench guys, Tari Eason and Amon Thompson?
Yeah, I like both of them. I'm overweight on both. I think they're both good plays. If the rotation's really tight, I could see Amon still playing. I mean, he's probably going to play north of 30 minutes here. At 6,300, he has the upside to get there at his price.
Yeah, and that's a good point because like Amon does not look good for OF index. His value's poor on both sites, but we haven't projected for 26. You give him an extra 5-6 minutes. We can't project him for more than 26, but if we did, he would look really good. And then I don't know, the price to Tari Eason, like on FanDuel, it doesn't feel like we're saving that much to Tari Eason. On DraftKings, $1,000 is a little bit more significant, but I'm getting a decent amount of Tari Eason as well.
Yep.
All right, did we touch on every player here? Really like Fred Van Vliet. Don't know if we talked about him enough, but I think he's awesome at these prices.
Yeah, Fred Van Vliet's way too cheap. I will mention just one thing on Sengun. I kind of get worried that they're going to close small. Like, I could see them just closing small here. He might lose his closing rotation. I know that happened last time they played. Can't guarantee it will happen again, but it just kind of worries me a little bit.
Nice, nice. So just more reinforcement for Jabari Smith.
Yeah, Jabari, Eason could even close. I think all of them look really good.
Do we like Steph and Van Vliet or Trey and Steph? Wait. I like mixing in Van Vliet a lot, especially if you can do something with that extra salary you're saving.
Yep.
If Hart is out, do we like Precious? I love Precious. If Hart's out, yeah, I'm really hoping the ownership doesn't get there. Where are you at?
Yeah, definitely.
Like he's not going to show up as anything right now. We only have him projected for like 16 minutes, but it's just he can play the 4 and the 5, which is pretty big because we know that New York only wants to play 7 or 8 guys. So 8 and 4%. I still think he's fine play, even as it is now. If Josh Hart plays at these ownerships, especially the 3,600 power forward eligibility on DraftKings.
Yep.
You're going B-Day boy Okongwu over Capella, dub with 5 stocks incoming for Clint. Yeah, Clint Capella. I don't know. I mentioned it before. I feel like he just kind of gets overlooked. And even the ownership today, 16 and 11% on a slate where we only have 4 starting centers. I think it's a good play to get over on.
Yeah.
Bogdan's still questionable, right? Yeah, I don't think we got an update yet.
Nope.
Why not play both Cat and Sengun? I think it's fine. No, I don't have a problem with that. Tari Eason starting? I don't think so. No. Is there a starting lineup confirmed? Nope. We don't even have the news for who's playing yet, so hopefully we don't have to make too many late adjustments. Hopefully from the first game at least everyone's in, so we can kind of just enter what we have. Fave low. I was going to pass this one to you, Smitty, but Fave low on play on FanDuel. Check this out. Brad Van Vliet's not low owned.
On FanDuel?
I'm not really getting to anyone that's super low owned here. I guess Gary Payton, but I only have 5%.
Uh, DeAndre Hunter.
DeAndre Hunter.
He's one
Nice.
of them. Yeah, I would say he looks pretty good.
Nice. Another guy who could go overlooked if he gets ruled in late. I mean, it's not really going to pull the ownership compared to some of the other guys anyway.
No Kongwu, but he's kind of priced up.
With Houston potentially closing small, Looney out of play, you had him as a sneaky dart throw. Looney originally was showing up for me on DraftKings really hard. It's 4K projected for 34% ownership. We have him at 20 minutes. If he's coming off the bench, I don't know. What do you think about Kevon Looney today?
He's kind of someone I'd rather get away from. I just think there's other higher upside centers that I'd rather get to. We don't really need to save on salary at center, so I prefer getting away. I was getting a ton too when I first started running lineups. I kind of had to bring him down some, but yeah, if Sengun's not closing, then Looney's probably not out there either. But I don't think Looney's going to close either way.
I am at 20% on DraftKings right now. It's projected for 34, so I'm like close to half the field. I think I'm comfortable with that because at 4K, if he plays at 22 minutes, I mean, he's still going to be a solid play. And the 4,500 on FanDuel, it's just tough because he takes up the center spot, and we have Katz and Goon.
Yep.
Let's see here. Houston is -2, but Golden State is 14-0 in their last 14 games. I thought it was 15-0. Yeah. Two of them were without Steph, too, if I'm not mistaken. So that's an interesting stat. Are you doing anything with that, Smitty?
I'm not. I was pretty surprised to see the line, though. Like, I think betting Golden State was pretty interesting.
Yeah, +2 or +2.5, whatever it's at right now.
Yep.
On a 2-game slate, how many players would you put in a stack? Is this something that you think about pretty hard, put in rules for, Smitty?
No, I don't. But I normally just double check what I'm getting. Like, I don't really want 5 guys from one team and then 0 from the other on a 2-game slate. I'd rather kind of have pieces of both.
Yeah, I agree. So I talked about it yesterday too. You know, if whatever optimizer you're using is giving you a lot of lineups with, like, let's say a 4-man Knicks stack or 4 Houston players or something, then the optimizer is probably telling you that that's good. And so you don't really want to just go in there and restrict that. Now, if you look at it and it doesn't make sense, then yeah, go ahead and do that. But on a 2-gamer, I just try to not be restrictive because a lot of stuff can happen. Like I mentioned, I don't like playing Capella and Okongwu in the same lineup at all, but it's a 2-gamer. Stuff can happen. They could both get there in 22 minutes.
Yep.
And so to answer your question, I mean, I don't know. On DraftKings today, there's probably not a lot of lineups you really want with 5 from a team, but 4 I have no problem with.
Yeah, same.
Curry doesn't like Houston. He's going to low-key go off, especially since you're fading. Steph, man. I feel like he's been kind of like, Warriors are a good team, but he doesn't feel like the assassin that he used to be. You know, he's a little passive, like, oh, Buddy's hot, let's let Buddy work. You know, oh, Jonathan Kuminga's doing stuff, let him keep doing stuff. I mean, 18, 17, the 23 and 21 shots are good, but I think he's fine. 9,500 at 12% on a 2-gamer. I'm taking shots on Steph still.
Yeah, kind of seems like someone that could break the slate. So I have quite a bit of interest. I'm over the field.
Yeah, I'm gonna be over that 10%. It's not that hard. Like if you have 20% Steph, you're twice the field, and if he has a bad game, doesn't kill that many of your lineups.
Yeah. Yeah, they've started to run a tighter rotation too, which should only help his minutes. So I like that.
Yeah, that's something that they did mention, that they're the players aren't exactly loving it. The coaches aren't loving that deep rotation, so they got to cut guys out. If JJ's ruled out, does Ricochet get significant bump? I don't think so. No. What do you think?
No, probably not.
Like I can check the exact usage numbers, but like we saw Ricochet got a few more minutes in the last game when Jalen Johnson missed. He got up to 29, but he still didn't do anything with it. I mean, if he played 29 minutes, I definitely want to have him in my exposures, but it's just they kind of seem like they're trying to get away from him a little bit because he's just not doing it.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get this info with Jalen Johnson off.
Jalen Johnson's available.
All right, so it doesn't even matter, yeah.
DeAndre's in. Trae Young's in.
Okay, nice,
And
perfect.
Bogdan's in. So everyone in.
All right, now we just need that Josh Hart news, and probably, like I said, hopefully we don't have to make any changes. We can just submit what we have already.
Yeah, Josh Hart plays through everything, so kind of just expect him to play.
Preference over Eason and Jabari?
I think they're so similar.
Yeah, they're pretty similar. Jabari's the easy one because he's starting. We can project him for more minutes. So maybe Eason's the pivot there.
I actually have a little bit more Eason than I do Jabari, but I think they're both good.
Okay, I bumped up Jabari pretty hard, so I have a lot of Jabari on DraftKings. Check FanDuel. I have a lot of Eason though too. I'm gonna be around the field there, I think. Yeah, just all the Jabari, dude. I hope it works out. You like Trey over Curry, and you have a lineup with Van Vliet and Brunson? Yeah, seems fine. Bridges is a no go. I like Bridges a lot. I feel like his minutes are super secure, and he seems really consistent.
He might not leave the court.
Yeah, I mean 41, 38, 46. What do we have him projected for? 40?
I think projection systems just don't go high enough on any of their minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we have Mikal Bridges projected for 39.3. That's really hard to get players projected for 39.3 against Atlanta. Are you over on Bridges?
Yeah, I have 53%.
Nice. I'm at 58% on DK.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the minutes are so secure that it's pretty hard to get away from.
Yeah, and over on FanDuel, I have 42%. I mentioned earlier OG at 6,200. I think it's more broken than McHale at 6K. The model's identifying McHale as a slightly better value. But do you have a ton of OG too?
Yeah, I have more OG. I have 59% currently on DraftKings.
Okay, nice. I basically have the same amount of both on DraftKings, but I have more OG on FanDuel, actually. I guess I'm getting to a lot of the value plays. I have that extra 1,000 to spend, no problem. I also have OG projected much better than McHale.
Yeah.
Buddy Hield might start. Yeah, if he starts, he's going to look good. I'm just curious to see what the ownership adjusts to, how much of the field is able to late swap onto him. The whole Knicks lineup's in play. They all play 40 minutes. Yeah.
The only one I'm not really getting to that's even in the rotation is Josh Hart. Kind of struggling to get there.
Wow. Yeah, me too. I have him in right now, and I'm getting 13% on FanDuel, 6% on DraftKings. So,
Yep.
I don't know if it's a price thing. So, if he's in, that's actually going to be a pretty sick play. I wonder if he even comes in at this 23 and 31% we haven't projected for.
That's kind of what I was wondering too. I think he could be somewhat sneaky.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to bump him now, just in case the rest of the field feels the same way. That McHale and OG are kind of obvious, and just because Josh Hart hasn't had a good game in a few games, he's questionable. That's the tournament play from the Knicks, though. I think Josh Hart, lowest ownership too. Cam I am is torn between Trey and Bridges or Van Vliet and JJ as your last two pieces. You have an opinion there, Smitty, before we consult the model?
That's pretty tough, man. I really like Van Vliet, so probably the second one.
Yeah, big fan of Van Vliet today. I'll point out Jalen Johnson, top 6 play in the model. Fred Van Vliet's number 8. Trae Young is number 4, and Mikal Bridges is number 10. So the value's probably close to the same. Yeah, I'd go with whatever with Smitty's answer. Do we use Excel to load our lineups or Google Sheets? Google Sheets. Do you use Google Sheets, Smitty?
Yeah, I use a mixture.
Yeah, I actually paid for Excel because I thought it would be better, and it wasn't better.
No, I actually prefer Google Sheets, but my wife gets it for free, so whatever.
Yeah. Josh had a good night. You have Josh Hart. Nice. He's had 2 back-to-back down games. Yep. Those are the guys we want to target when nothing else is different. Yeah, less on Hart and all the other Knicks. So I do think that's the way to go in general. I'm just saying Josh Hart is going to go overlooked because I'm sure everyone feels this way. Is Amon priced too high on FanDuel for the minutes? I don't think so. Do you think so, Smitty?
No, I think he's priced appropriately, but that's pretty much it.
The thing with Amon Thompson is his ceiling is just dumb, dude. Rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. If he develops a 3-point shot, this is going to be one of the most complete players in the entire NBA.
Yeah, him and Dyson. But I think with Amon too, it's just if anyone loses run or gets hurt, gets in foul trouble, he's the one that gains the minutes. So that's why I think he's just one of the top GPP plays.
Yeah, and it's just I talk about this with guys. If you want to catch Amon on the days he puts up 41 at 6,300 or 49, 39, you got to be willing to play him on the days he puts up 10 and 17. And so it's a risky play, but he's won so many GPPs this year. I think we just have to always take risks on these guys.
Yep.
Pricey has such a high floor. I actually don't think he has that high of a floor. I think he has a very high ceiling, though. Yeah. Jayshawn Tate, that's kind of a deep play we haven't mentioned. Yeah, he's back, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of. Did he play already? Played 18 minutes. 18 minutes is pretty good for a 3,200 guy, close-ish game. And so what are you thinking about Jayshawn in terms of how he's going to affect the rotation? And then it sounded like you weren't interested in playing him, though.
Yeah, with Tari Eason back, I don't even think he's in the rotation.
Tari Eason missed 12-8. Was that it?
Yeah, Eason's been out for a couple games.
Okay, I didn't. That's the one rotation I didn't pull up was Houston. So thank you for knowing that.
So no, don't play Tate.
JJ or Curry. Steph Curry and Jalen Johnson are exactly tied in the model. So whichever one you need at the position, I guess. I would say, like, if you have a value you like at Jalen Johnson's position, then play that value with Steph. If you have a value like at point guard, play the value at point guard and just play Jalen Johnson. All right, Smitty, we have a few minutes. Should we just get into building a dummy? Was there anything else you wanted to discuss with this slate?
I think we pretty much talked about everyone of relevance, at least.
Yeah, so no matter what happens tonight, we talked about that player on stream. That's the way we like to do it. It sounded like our first player in tonight was Jonathan Kuminga.
Yep.
Yeah, Jonathan Kuminga, and then is there a clear second for you?
It's Towns for me.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, no problem paying up at center. I'll get to you in a second, Power. Let's take a look at the Hawks. We are both pretty interested in Bogdan. Do we want to plug him into the dummy?
Yeah, I like that.
All right, let's do that. This is not exactly model approved like I try to go for most days, but he's a good play today.
It's a 2-gamer.
Yeah, it's a little more high risk than usual, maybe, but probably worth it. What else do we got?
I like OG.
Yeah, let's plug in OG. 6,200 is for sure a good play. I have Jabari Smith as my next guy up.
I like that.
Yeah, the minutes are too strong for $5,300, especially like you said, if they go small and run him at center against Draymond or something.
Yep. Yeah, if him or Eason get any minutes at the 5, I think it's pretty good. And Steven Adams is also questionable, so there's even more of a chance of that if they hold Steven Adams out.
I like that. Do you want to put Fred VanVleet in here too?
Yeah.
So these are my minus Bogdan. Those are my 5 highest exposed guys on DraftKings right now. OG, Kuminga, Karl Towns, Jabari Smith, and Fred VanVleet.
Yep.
After him, I got Dylan Brooks, Bogdan. Just like scrolling down a little bit, but Buddy Hield, Amon Thompson, Miles McBride, Andrew Wiggins, Jalen Johnson, Steph Curry. What do we want to do?
Yeah, I'm very similar. We need a point guard. Let's see.
Let me put Fred VanVleet in point. That was weird. Yeah, 5,600 for a guard and utility. Was there another center you wanted to slide in util?
We could go with Okongwu or Capella.
Let's try a Okongwu at 4,700. That leaves us 6,500 to get to Jalen Green, Amon Thompson, even Mikal Bridges. Maybe you can use the 500 to upgrade Bogdan. But that seems pretty strong. Or even if we get rid of Bogdan, let's say Buddy Hield ends up starting, we didn't take up that roster spot with Bogdan. We'll try a Okongwu here and not a Okongwu. We'll try Capella here, 5,900. Yeah, move some stuff around, but there's a lot of stuff we can do tonight, and especially if you plan forward too, and we get that starting lineup right, you're going to be feeling pretty good.
Yep.
Wiggins over JJ. They're different price points. Belichick, head coach at UNC, $30 million for 3. Belichick is a genius. I don't even no notes, dude. That guy is just a smart man.
He's a businessman.
He's a businessman, dude. This guy's gonna have more attention from women than the whoever the starting quarterback there is. Like from the
Yep.
college, from the students. I mean, you want to make a tournament play with Fred VanVleet over Brunson? I think it's awesome. Yeah, you're scared he's going to have a floor game. I mean, sometimes he will, but when he doesn't have a floor game and you get that leverage and Brunson has a floor game, that's just, it's not, again, it's not going to work out that often, but uh, when it does, you're probably in pretty good shape to take down a GPP or finish near the top at least. Colin likes Ricochet tonight. I mean, if that's your GPP shot, I think it's fine. I think the other guys are all better plays. But at his ownership, it's 2 games. Stuff happens. We've seen him blow up before. It's going to be Fred Van asleep tonight. Man, Power, I thought we were usually on the same page here. What player's price is just right? I don't know. Cat. It's probably still too cheap, actually.
Yeah.
Who's just right? Like Fred VanVleet in my mind is underpriced, but Heal's underpriced if he starts. OG underpriced, Kaminga underpriced, Jabari underpriced. Clint Capella is probably appropriately priced at 5,700.
Who'd you say?
Clint Capella.
Oh yeah, him and Steph Curry probably. He's probably even a little overpriced actually.
Yeah, right. It's a pretty interesting question though. I mean, sorting by ownership, I think all these guys are kind of underpriced. Every single player here. Except Miles McBride, he's probably appropriate. Jalen Green is appropriate. Yeah. For DK, that is for single entry. I mean, this is just kind of core whatever, but yeah, I guess it's geared more towards single entry, smaller field stuff, because in large GPPs, you probably have to find another pivot or two from the chalk, but it's a 2-gamer. Like, don't try too hard to find these pivots. Just make the best lineup you can. You think Hart's the tourney winner play with Ricochet? Hey man, if that's your take, then do it. Don't see a problem with it. 2 gamers, you really can do whatever you want. Bridges is just right. I think Bridges could be a couple hundred more, but yeah, he's not too far off from where he should be.
Hart and Towns are both in.
Okay, nice. So, great. We don't have to really adjust for anything. I guess we'll just wait for that Golden State starting lineup. Hopefully everything's okay with Houston and Sengun. We don't have to make any decisions there. That was a good point that you made, though, about Houston may be able to go small, so maybe Sengun isn't as great of a tournament play as I thought.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me.
Growing up, Pink Ranger or Kelly Kapowski? I'm watching White Collar right now, so Kelly Kapowski. Yeah, Mr. Torian, we appreciate you guys giving us a shot this season. Thanks for being here every day. Hit that like, subscribe to the channel. Join the Discord. Instructions are in the description below. Jayhawk's going to continue this for another 30 minutes. Smitty, did you have any final words you wanted to give the people?
No, I don't. Just be sure you keep looking out for the Golden State lineup.
And I don't want to leave you out in the cold on this one. Did you have an answer, Pink Ranger or Kelly Kapowski?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, that was fun. White Collar was fire. Yeah, dude. Really easy show to rewatch. Have on in the background. Love it. What's the minimum amount of minups you look for in a player? I mean, I have exposure to Precious Achua, and we have him projected for like 15 tonight, so it's just on a 2-gamer. It's not that important, but if they're showing up as good value, that's more important than minutes. All right. Really appreciate you guys seeing